Hi, James. Good
Hello.
morning. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you.
We're actually sitting in my unit 212, and we're hoping to talk to you a little bit about what Cotton's capabilities are in terms of maybe the reconstruction. And we've been focusing so much on the mitigation, and we understand that Cotton has the ability to take it to the next level. So just wanted to talk a little bit about what Cotton's abilities are in terms of reconstruction.
Right. So we've got basically three different phases of this project from a rebuild standpoint, and I'm going to leave completely out the electrical mechanical side of it because we're not currently responsible for doing any of that. So we have obviously the restoration portion, which is where we're kind of getting our toes in the water right now. We're about to start accelerating pretty rapidly towards the end of this week on moving out on all that. More to come in the next day or two on all that as far as scheduling and kind of what we foresee our process as being. Secondarily to that, and that's really where it crosses over to the construction side, is what I would call white boxing. White boxing is basically where we've removed drywall, we go back in with new drywall, tape, float, sand, all of the floating. So it is basically texture and paint ready at that point,
Mm-hmm.
but it'll just be raw drywall at that point.
Okay.
From there, as far as capabilities are concerned, I feel very confident that we can get on that in a fairly rapid manner. In fact, I would suggest that what we do is when we decide which building we're going to start with, at the completion of that building, I would like to go ahead and get that process rolling. Okay. On the back end of us, and then we shift over to building whatever, one or two or three, whichever we're going to next, while they do that white boxing portion. Okay. So that'll speed up this whole process.
So let me just ask a question. Sorry to interrupt you, but
Yep.
So we haven't let a subcontract for that white boxing.
Correct.
I would expect it will be done by King's Crown.
Correct.
But there are some divisions of responsibility in terms of each condo. So the perimeter walls and ceilings and floors, the association owns those up to the finished surface. So I would envision that King's Crown would go ahead and let that contract to you. It wouldn't make sense to do so otherwise. But then on the other hand, there's our interior walls, party walls, some people call them, that are not owned by King's Crown. So there may be some other other opportunities for owners to reach out to you for those items that are not within the association's scope of work.
Understood. Yep, understood.
So
yes, we can absolutely help with that. And then going into kind of what the third portion, when that will be more of the independently contracted with the independent condo owners to do final finishes, right? So that's texturing, that's painting, that's countertops. If we had to do demo in the kitchen, that's the more the internal walls like you just discussed, and finishing those out properly. Floorings, all the basically the end finishings. And what Al and I were discussing earlier is I feel very confident in our speed right now as far as the white boxing portion are concerned.
Okay.
What I'm still gathering details and information on, and I want to be upfront with everybody on this, is the kind of the finalizing the condos, where we would be contracted directly with the condominium owners. There's a lot of supply issues. There's a lot of labor issues that are involved because of the span of this. So I'm gathering as much information as I can right now to be as upfront with you guys as possible. But it's going to take me about a week and a half to give you some really good hard timelines that I'm comfortable delivering to you. I want to be honest with everybody. I don't want to lose your confidence at that stage of this process because we're not doing what we said we could do. So, but as far as just physical capabilities of our company, we're a national-wide company. We have abilities to pull trades from multiple parts of the United States that we work with on a daily basis. I just need to understand where we are with work that has already been signed by Cotton.
Right.
And then, so those trades and those materials have been spoken for, what that timeline is. And then on the backside of that, how quickly can I get to, you guys.
Okay.
So that's where we're at.
So let me take a step back a little bit, and let's for instance my unit at 212. So in my unit, it's probably a lot similar to a lot of other people's, and that is I need a little bit of ceiling taken down. I need certain walls. They're all perimeter walls, and the carpet's taken up, of course, also. So I'm wondering, what would if I hired you in order to, let's say, take it to the next step, from white boxing, which I'm assuming that King's Crown would take. What about like baseboards, finish paint, ceiling molding, texture on the ceiling to match what I have here already? Is that could Cotton do that? Could they
Yes.
take that to the next step?
Yes, there's nothing that you guys can basically throw at me that we can't physically do. It's
Right.
just going to be more of, this is our timeline. Is that acceptable to
Right,
you?
right.
That's
Okay.
really where we're at.
Okay.
I feel like you're going to have that same conversation with a lot of different contractors,
Yeah.
because the volume has gone through the roof, especially if they're local contractors.
Yeah.
And just making sure that you have very well qualified tradesmen to do each portion of what you just discussed. And then also, what is their timeline? And then also on top of that, what is the availability of materials
Right.
to do what you're requesting?
Right. Okay.
But a little side note, and you and I have had this discussion as well, but kind of silver lining for everybody out there in this process is that if there was something that you wanted to change inside your condo, you wanted to add a plug, or you wanted to move something a little bit left or right, now's the time to maybe think about those. And
Right.
even if it's not me that's doing that, this is a good time to have those conversations with your contractor that is going to be able to do that, because you're going to have some open walls and ability to move stuff.
So let's talk just about experience. I know that maybe resource limited, in this particular case, but as far as experience, for Cotton, I know a lot of owners, and I've been to every unit, and there's everyone is beautiful. Some of them are exceptionally beautiful, with granite countertops, with high-end appliances, with high-end countertops. Just talking experience, is that something that Cotton would be able to undertake?
Yes, sir. Kind of like you and I were discussing this morning. Now we work in all kinds of environments. Probably the highest end environments that we typically see are in Class A high-rise buildings. That's where you have, the largest law firms in the world work in, and those type of environments where we may have granite full floor to ceiling, may even have ceilings that are granite at some point. So, or marble brought in from all over the world. We've done work in all those different environments. So there's not a lot of finishes that I believe that we're going to have a hard issue reproducing for you, for lack of better words.
So, so if a owner would like to take it to the next step, and I realize that you're checking resources if we can even do that, but would that be a separate contract between you and the?
That's
and the
correct.
owners?
That would be a completely new agreement. That would be a construction service agreement. That would be between the condo owner and Cotton Restoration.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that Cotton is licensed as a contractor in Florida.
Yes, sir.
And,
We absolutely are, and we can deliver all that documentation to you for all that stuff as well.
Yeah, speaking of that, and maybe we're a little off subject, but in terms of the work that's being done inside each unit, I had a question about what is the documentation that you might be able to provide to each owner, so that when they're talking about to their insurer, in terms of that, could you talk to that?
Yeah. So yes, absolutely. We're going to do tons of photographs. First of all, we're going to again, this is the environment we live in every day. We don't just do this type of work on catastrophic events. We do this every day. Because of that, we have to have very clean communication with the insured. Basically, what's going to happen is one of my supervisors that will be in your unit, that will be kind of running that small crew, will be responsible for taking photographs. So what they typically do is they'll take a photograph of the placard outside with the unit
Yes,
number,
of course, yeah.
and then they'll physically go through and methodically take pictures of everything as it is in the unit prior to us doing any work. And then they will take damage pictures. So if we take drywall off and we see more mold on the backside, kind of like we've done in the videos prior, they'll take good photographs of that, for the reasoning that we're having to, keep peeling back the onion, for lack of better words. I keep using that. Yeah, we're going to document that all the way through the process. Now, what I'm going to deliver to you guys, typically what we've done in the past is done project manager reports. I think it's going to get too bulky with the amount of units. So what I'm going to do is that physical spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet's going to have, do we have the right to enter document signed, yes or no? We're starting demo, completing demo, doing final clean, all the different steps in there. And then we can, pardon me, then we can have one-on-one communication on what we're doing.
Okay, very good. All right, anything else you'd like to mention in terms of Cotton's capabilities?
I think we've wrapped it up.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.